Welcome everybody to the Broken Wings Racing League. We got the GT3 Championship Round 2 at Watkins Glen. We're on board right now with Trey Mistack, who is leading us out on this adventure during qualifying. It is going to be a 10-minute qualifying session, and after that 10-minute qualifying session, we will go into the race. That's how motorsports works, folks. We're going to stay in this view for just a little bit until he goes onto his push lap. Everybody out there on their out laps, it looks like he is going to be one of the few drivers sitting out there with a Lamborghini Huracan, as there is only 5 Lamborghinis on the track right now, and Trey Mistack is one of them. There are, I would say, a litany of Audis and Ferraris. Seems to be the contenders where everyone's favorites right now. Is about half the grid would be Ferrari and Audi, and then got a couple BMWs spiced in there, sprinkled in, and only a few, like 2 Porsches, maybe 3, 4 Porsches sitting there right beside the Lamborghini, I guess. All right. And here we go. We're going to go on board with Trey Mistack, who's going to be leading us. First driver to go out on the flyer, and just behind him, more out there. Travis Valdez and Joshua Willis are just behind, and about 30 seconds up is another driver that's on his out lap. Let's just see what happens. And so far, so good through the bus stop. And a couple off tracks already from Steve McAllister. That's unfortunate. The time to beat right now is going to be a 1:43.4. That is the fastest time out in practice, in free practice, just before the qualifying started. Only a few drivers were able to get to the 1:43s, so it's going to be really interesting to see how everyone kind of unfolds on that. A lot of the drivers were sitting in the 1:44s, and then a few outside that with the 1:45s, but going through the final couple corners here into the penultimate corner, he's got a 1:35 on the board, 1:36, and then that line is going to approach very shortly. And I don't think he's going to get to a 1. That's a 1:44.8 at a Trey Mistack. And Matt Shack just behind, going to be crossing the line. He's one to look for as he crosses the line with a 1:43.1. Puts him out there. And a lot of drivers are just jumping in here. We have Ryan Avila with the 1:43.6. A lot of drivers sitting, already getting some off tracks. Zachary Bryant with a P. Let's see. It is difficult to follow, but keep taking a look here. Oh, Kyle Deckard here. P9 right now. And it is just not showing this in a way that makes sense. Hmm. Apologies for that, folks. It's just getting a little bit used to here. I'm going to actually just pop over to the results itself because I'm not entirely sure I'm seeing the right stuff as Jason Williams goes into the barrier there. That's unfortunate for him. Qualifying. So far, we have Matt Shack in P1, Ryan Avila in P2, Eddie Layton in P3 with a 143.7, David Flanagan in P4, Trey Mistack in P5, Timothy Bry in P6, Andrew Pickrell P7, Eric Rodriguez in P8, Joshua Willis P9, Christopher Douglas in P10. That kind of wraps up our top 10 so far, but look at that. We have Paulo Lanker coming from P23 down to P3 with a 143.666. Yikes, that's a fast boy. Down the lineup we go. We have a couple drivers that haven't made a lap just yet. We have Travis Valdez, who's sitting in P30. Just in the take a look at him real quick. Travis Valdez still has not set a time that is on the board. Yalgun Badcrack is also not set a time. Tyler Tier also not set a time, and Ray Frias. But then there goes Travis Valdez across the line with a 143.9. P6 for him. And the P next to everybody's name is the pro standings. That is the pro standing drivers. And then next to, without that, is just the amateur class. So just separating the fast boys from the not so fast boys. But, you know, within their own right, it looks like two of these fast boys still have not set a time. We have Ray Frias on the board in P32 provisionally until he sets a time. His last lap was a 157. That must have been an out lap. The driver has gone way off on that one. Let's see if he isn't pushing. Maybe he's not. It looks like there's a little bit of a incident that someone dropped back to the pits for. Let's see what he could do. We still got 2 minutes left on qualifying. Ray Frias possibly pushing. It's hard to tell. It looks like he's about just did a 144.9 as he crosses the line. Goes P23 and is going to be pushing again. We have a driver, Trey Mistack, in P7, who's about 0.3 faster right now as he is pushing on another flyer of a lap. 0.4 faster now, 0.5 faster. Trey Mistack did a 144.1, so it's going to be really interesting to see if he is able to pull out into the 143s and then jump some people with that half second. It's going to be a pretty good result for him. If we're taking a look back at this, he's just outside that 144. So if he stays half a second up, he's actually going to be in P3 more than likely. It's actually he's got 0.7 now for Trey Mistack. Oh, as he's about to cross the line. Let's take a look and see if he's not going to be able to go a little faster. That's the line right there, and Trey Mistack does not improve upon his time. Still sits P7. That's unfortunate. We have Max Yoder here in P26, who's actually was 0.7 faster than his last lap, but just kind of negated that right there by that little swing of things. Jumping on board with Nate Campbell in P25 as he crosses the line. Looks to improve upon his time, but it doesn't show. And he is still P25. Gander, that's somebody that's... Jumping on board with Timothy Bry, who goes extra wide there, and I don't think that really helps you, especially was 2/10 faster on that last lap, or this lap that he was doing, but it doesn't really help him. At the moment, he's now lost 2.4 seconds. He's definitely not going to be able to improve upon this time. But Tyler Tier, the man who has yet to set a time on the board, one of the only people on the board besides Austin McGill, who has not set a time. And we are at the end of qualifying, folks, and it's a bit jarring. I will say myself, I'm getting used to what this looks like. Oh, there we go. And Tyler Tier, 1.4 seconds faster than his last lap. He was now on an out lap. But he's still going faster. He's not lost any time through any of these corners so far. Going to the penultimate corner here, we could see Tyler Tier cross the line with this. This is a P24 out of him with a 144.8. And I guess that's the case. Really didn't cross the line there, though. And that's not really a solid improvement, but, you know, any time is better than no time, especially when the driver's at P33 was a 146. So just getting better than 146 will put you in a really good spot. Most of the drivers on track did a 140. We got 143s till P1 through P8. And then we got 144s after that. Matt Shack takes pole at Watkins Glen with David Flanagan in P2, Ryan Avila in P3, Paulo Langer never really improved upon that time, but he did set in a banger lap, and that definitely shows. P4 for him, Eddie Layton to P5, Andrew Pickerel to P6, Josh Willis to P7, Travis Valdez to P8, Christopher Douglas to P9, Trey Mistak P10, Timothy Bry in P11, Joey Jr. in P12, Ray Frias in P13, Noah Hoskinson in P14, Eric Rodriguez in 15, Andrew Korstecki in 16, Kyle Aiken in 17. Let's see if we got some getting close. Craig Carroll in P18, Cody Wasserman 19, Kyle Deckard in 20, David Gauntlet in 21, Yalgun Batterath in P22, Michael Doling in P23, Tyler Tier in P24, Richard Saavedra in P25, Nate Campbell in P26, Max Yoder in P27, Andrew Gallagher in P28, Scott Neiman in 29, Jason Williamson in P30, Zachary Bryant in P31, Steve McAllister P32, Tom DeSelms in P33, and Austin Miguel in P34 without setting a time, but that's all right. That was quite the configuration there. A lot of fast-paced drivers in this split. We got Matt Shack without E2. David Flanagan still not on the board. Got a couple drivers not on the board just yet, not out there. Nathan Campbell, Ray Frias, Scott Neiman, and David Flanagan. Oh, David Flanagan's back in. And we're going to go to the chopper cam just at the start here. Just make sure we can get a good look at everybody on track. Make sure we get everything that's going to be interesting. And we have one driver, Ray Frias, that did not join the grid. Yikes. And Matt Shack is going to take us across the line. And here we go, folks. Off to a good start. It looks like Ryan Avila gets ahead. And, oh, David Flanagan just gets swallowed up by a few drivers there. Let's see, go down. Oh! And what was that? Oh, it's 3 wide right now. Take a look at that. Ray Freas exits the pit lane. And instant replay on that. Okay. And Matt Shack's still leading this race. So we had a little incident in turn 1, but not too much of an issue there. We have all the other drivers on track, still pushing really well there. Dropping back. Not much has been done just yet. Oh no, that was Andrew Pickrell who was involved in that incident. He has dropped down, as well as a few others that are out there. Cody Wassum sitting in P18 and P30 at the moment. Oh no. He has spun. There goes Andrew Pickrell, his teammate. Also, a car that's a little backed up here. Go to... Yikes. That does not look good. And there goes Andrew Pickrell. He's sitting in a sandwich of sorts. And you can just see... Oh. Just... It was actually Paolo Langer who was involved in that. But it doesn't seem to be like anyone else was... Oh... There it is. Just unfortunate there. And that is Paolo Langer out. He was sitting P4. And Cody Wassum and Andrew Pickrell exit the pit lane. And we have... Whoa, is that... Noah Hodgkinson's... Little on the outs. A little too much speed going into that corner and just kind of misses braking zone, but able to pull back a little bit. Lose a couple positions out of that. Oh, no. And that is Noah Hodgkinson. Oh, that is unfortunate. That's Kyle Aiken as well. Also involved in that. Oh, gosh. And that was, you know, you only heard it. But now you have to see it. And Steve McAllister just going through that corner, not expecting that a driver's going to, move into the pit lane across the track like that. And there goes Steve McAllister and Richard Saavedra. Unfortunate there, folks. Just move through. Cody Wassum's out on track there. Got Eddie Layton in P4. Still been holding a spot. Joey Jr., I believe he was actually started from a little bit further back there, and we'll take a look at Joey Jr. He started P12 on the grid, and he's now down to P5. Travis Valdez, P6. Timothy Bray is now into P7. with Josh Willis in P8. Can he make something happen here? On their last lap, Eddie Layton and Joey Jr. did similar times. Actually, Joey Jr. was 2/10 faster than Eddie Layton, so it looks to be like this is going to be something happening very shortly. If I had to guess. Oh, no. And just behind Eddie Layton, or Joey Jr. there, is Travis Valdez, who's already found the back end of Joey Jr. And Travis Valdez, with his last time of 144.6, was actually just 1/10 slower than Joey Jr., the driver ahead of him in P5. So there is some contention to be had here, as the driver in P4 is slower than both drivers P5 and P6 on the last lap. Now, on overall pace, we don't know that just yet. We'll see it when they cross the line who's actually going to be improving. But it doesn't look like Eddie Layton's had to defend too much, as Joey Jr.'s just been just sitting in that draft. But it doesn't look like Travis Valdez is going to follow that same suit. Maybe he ends up overtaking him on this next lap going into this straight. It's possible. Travis Valdez does a 144.6. Joey Jr. does a 144.8. Eddie Layton, really showing his pace, did a 144.3, which means Joey Jr. is the one that's going to be swallowed up in this this conundrum that he's put himself in. He was attacking, and now he's probably going to have to start defending against Travis Valdez. Oh, as he just slips a little there. Goes able to maintain the car as he is. But nothing just yet out of that driver. Matt Shack has Ryan Avila on his back right there in the black car. And still not a move has been made, but one to be done very shortly, one would think. Let's go on here. They're separated by 3/10. Matt Shack just did a 144 even. Ryan Avila did a 144 even. And you could scratch that up to like the hundredths of a difference to these drivers right now. It really comes down to that. They are matching each other on pace, laps. It's going to take a mistake out of Matt Shack for Ryan Avila to be able to overtake him on that alone. His pace goes through. They're still separated by a couple hundredths of a second, and we're talking Matt Shack did a 144.359, and Ryan Avila did a 144.305. So 500ths of a second, and that's not enough to make a move. Even when you're just pushing each lap, getting a little closer, a little closer. He's got him on these straights. He's getting into the draft, but it's still not enough, and he's actually getting helped along getting that that track time because he's in the draft. We'll just jump on board with Yolgun Badcraft, who's in P25 across the board there with Andrew Pickrell just ahead of him in P26 now, so he got overtaken by Andrew Pickrell on that straight. He's lost a little bit of time, but he's still making progress. And Austin McGill, who started in last place, is now down to P22. So good results so far for this driver as well. Tom DeSelms in P20. As we have a little bit of a train here going. That's P16 up to P20. P21, I should say. Nothing yet. And it looks like Ryan Avila has just lost a couple tenths off of Matt Shack there. Not able to improve upon his time just yet. As Travis Valdez in the works. Whoa. And that is Kyle Aiken just over. Whoa, has to go off track. That we're watching Joshua Willis right now, and Kyle Aiken is definitely off track. Josh Willis goes through, stays P7, I believe. And that is Trey Mistak from P11 down to P10. Joshua Willis, actually P9 maybe. Joshua Willis down on the inside line. Takes P8 from P9. So he goes up one position. Trey Mistak up several positions with Tyler Tier just behind him in P12. Kyle Aiken, who really lost out there. He was the one in the Galaxy. Oh, and he goes a little wide there, folks. That's unfortunate. We'll take a closer look here and see this little scrap contending further as we'll go into Tyler Tier. Get a nice view of Tyler Tier's point of view as he is the one looking at these two drivers thinking, who's going to make a mistake and where can I benefit from there? It goes a little bit wider than what you'd want to expect there. But he's still pushing. He's got a good... Oh, he's got to worry about that defense. As you can see in that monitor, the Porsche is about to go on his inside from the chopper cam. We see that they're still side by side. Trey Mistak overtaking Joshua Willis into turn 1. And to turn 2 they go. Josh Willis is now going to just have to try to defend, but he doesn't have the draft. Gets the draft back, and now Tyler Tier and Joshua Willis are just... Oh my God. He gets ahead of him, and Kyle Aiken is pushing ahead. That's 3 positions lost for Joshua Willis. And Tyler Tier just lost out one more position to Kyle Aiken, who just made a very extremely good tactical move there to overtake 2, exiting out of turn 3 like that. Onto the straight they went. That's just marvelous. Trey Mistak now down to P8. But Kyle Aiken has anything to say about that, we're going to be seeing him on the push from P11 to P10. And he's one of the few Porsches out there on the grid right now. I'd say the same thing with the BMWs and the Lamborghinis. Not a lot of people chose this car this season. So the different strengths of these cars are definitely going to be playing into each corner and on the straights that go. Looks like Trey Mistak's getting away slightly with 1/10 faster than Kyle Aiken there. Now 2/10 faster. Not able to get as much of a draft there. So less of a ability to attack. Tyler Tier on board with him as he is looking to make some places back up. And Joshua Willis, who just out of the points right there. P11 dropped back significantly, a full second, as we're about to see side by side these two drivers go. Is Tyler Tier going to give him the... Is Kyle Aiken going to be able to defend against this? No, he is not. That goes Tyler Tier straight through with P10. To P9. Relative ever updates. Lap by lap it goes. But we got ourselves a big battle here at the top of the order. And right behind him is actually Craig Carroll and Joshua Willis. The league owner sitting in the train. 5-car train, almost 6 cars. We have Kyle Deckard right there in the back. Looks like he's getting a little closer. He is off by 1.3 seconds, but that really seems to be, pulling towards him right now. Not too much of a gap, as he's starting to gain ground. Kyle Deckard with a 146.1, just 1/10 slower than Craig Carroll in the last lap. And then back at it, Kyle Aiken. Is he going to try to make a move against Tyler Tier? They swapped last lap, and are they going to be swapping again? It just seems like they are equal pace from each of these drivers, although it's hard to tell. Tyler Tier did a 145 even last lap. Kyle Aiken did a 145.6, 6/10 slower, but he's still on the back of him at. So it's possible I don't think he's actually going to go for it right now. And you almost wonder what the issue there is for Joshua Willis. Is he was P8. He had the pace, but he has just been kind of relegated. He's now 1.1 seconds away from the drivers ahead. His last lap was 145.3. He was faster than Craig Carroll on the last lap. He's actually faster than Kyle Aiken ahead of him in that Galaxy livery that you see there. But he's not actually pulling towards the drivers ahead of him. In fact, it looks like Kyle Deckard is still actually approaching them, and nothing's really happening with these 3 cars that are kind of in their own little zone. And there goes Tyler Tier a little bit off. Kyle Deckard a lot off on that last one. Definitely an off track if I had to call it. This car is blinking. And he is actually gone. Oh, there he is. Andrew Picker, who passed David Gauntlet for P23. Kyle Aiken's teammate. He's making up positions. Was sitting in the top 10 at the start of this race, and as we saw that first lap, didn't look good. Matt Shack still sitting in P1 at the moment with Kyle Avila just behind him, about 1.3 seconds back. David Flanagan sitting in P3. He's about 6/10 back. Joey Jr. sitting in P4 from P12. It's a great result for Joey Jr. there. He did pass Eddie Layton at one point. And Eddie Layton just behind there, as we can see. Travis Valdez behind him as well. Timothy Bry in P7. And then Trey Mistack, who's leading this little pack. And you can see that there isn't really much happening with those gaps between them. Joshua Willis with a 145.5. Actually slower than P10 on the last lap by a good margin. So it doesn't look like he's going to be pulling towards those drivers anytime soon. But Kyle Aiken not getting closer to Tyler Tier. Tyler Tier did a 144.6. Kyle Aiken did a 144.7. And I think that's Craig Carroll coming in hot with the overtake there. And we'll just pull back just a little bit to take another look at that because you don't quite see it just happening, but he sets it up very well. And just lets go of that draft and has the momentum and speed to pass him on pace alone. And that was Craig Carroll making a very well-executed P11 move right there as fourth position, P11. Great result. Oh no. Kyle Deckard has also passed Joshua Willis. And that is... just gonna... oh. Pull back there. Kyle Deckard. And, oh, there it is. Joshua Willis just goes to the wide, very wide side there in that turn, and Kyle Deckard just goes by. There must be something else happening here for this driver to be just in the spot he is. Joshua Willis is into the pit lane. Oh, man. Does this driver have damage? Do we know? We got about it's a good time to go into the pit lane if you're going to make this move, so we'll definitely take a look. He's just going to need fuel here. So is this going to be a quick stop or not? We see a lot of other drivers that are in the pit lane, but could be for damage more than likely, as none of them have actually exited the pit lane. And it looks like he's back at it, maybe changing tires. But there he goes. He's back out. He drops down to P24 at the moment. You don't like to see something like that happen. Ryan Avila not really having to sweat it just yet, but he does have that driver behind him of David Flanagan, who's half a second off of him. Back on board with Travis Valdez, who still nowhere closer to Eddie Layton just yet. Timothy Bry no closer as well. Trey Mistack has a few drivers in his back mirrors there, and that is Tyler Tier, who looks to be getting a little bit closer. Tyler Tier now equal on pace. Kyle Aiken pulled towards these drivers, and he's actually now equal on pace. And then in the background, you got Craig Carroll, who's done a 1:45.1. He's actually faster than Kyle Aiken on that last lap, and he's definitely going to be getting into that draft, getting some time close to these guys. And that goes Travis Valdez into the pit lane. He's already dropping down. So we're going to be seeing the shakeup there as everybody's on lap 14. Some of these drivers on their stint have already dropped and gotten some fresh rubber, some fuel, and are going back out there. So we're going to be seeing a shakeup in the order just on that alone. None of the drivers that are in the top 10 right now have done that besides Travis Valdez, who dropped to P15. And he's actually back out again. And let's take a look. P16 of Scott Neiman is right there, but that is not going to be enough. That's Andrew Gallagher and Zachary Bryant, I believe, going side by side into the straight. Zachary Bryant was P18, but now looks to be P17. Andrew Gallagher losing one position down. That is unfortunate for him, as we've seen a lot of drivers make that move down the straight, and it's calculated as it goes from a slowpoke racing team. Not so much of a slowpoke there. But honestly, looking at this driver, it looks like he was getting closer, but now it's just lost about 3/10 off going through that corner. Not the great angle on which you wanted to get done there. And we have Joey Jr., who's into the pit lane. Now one of the first drivers in the top 10, besides Travis Valdez, to go into the pit lane. David Flanagan still out there, pushing against Ryan Avila. Timothy Bry passes Joey Jr. for P4, or P5. And Trey Mistack also staying out. Tyler Tier, Kyle Aiken still battling it out, and Craig Carroll, unfortunate for him, it looks like he has lost a considerable amount of time there. 2.7 seconds down from Kyle Aiken. Something must have happened there for him to be down as much as he is. Joey Jr. out there on an outlap. He's finally out in P12 with Travis Valdez just behind him. And seeing a shakeup in the order already. We have a lot of drivers that are finally in their box, getting some fuel. It looks like Andrew Gallagher was decided to be one of those drivers to make the move. Max Yoder crosses the line, takes a couple positions, but not for long. He's also going to have to go in the pit lane. He's on 15 old tires right now. As we still have the majority of the board, everybody in the top 11 here so far. Is Ryan Avila? All the drivers are going in. We have Matt Shack, Ryan Avila, David Flanagan, Timothy Bray goes across the line to take P1 right now. Timothy Bray goes across the line to take P1, and it looks like he's going to go for the overcut. We have Eddie Layton also in. Tyler Tiers stays out. He's going to go for the overcut. Kyle Aiken also going for an overcut. Trey Mistak goes in. Craig Carroll goes in. Now it's going to be interesting to see where Matt Shack shakes up in this one. And that was not a pun on purpose. He is getting fuel, but is he going to be out first? Looks like he is. In his box, out of his box, and he's already out significantly. We got David Flanagan ahead. David Flanagan gets ahead of Ryan Avila. And look at that. There's Joey Jr. down into the first corner. They're going. Joey Jr. is going to overtake Ryan Avila. Is he going to have the speed to overtake David Flanagan? He is. Oh my gosh. The undercut works, folks. And that is Joey Jr. making up an impressive feat as he has overtaken two drivers for position as he was P4. David Flanagan drops back. Ryan Avila drops back, but he overtakes David Flanagan. What a move. What a move. Joey Jr. This guy knows how to drive, and that is impressive to say the least. We have Matt Shack out there in P1 provisionally. We have Eric Rodriguez in P4. We know he's going to have to go into the pit lane. We know Kyle Aiken's going to have to go in the pit lane. Tyler Tier and these two have been battling all race. And Timothy Bray, Timothy Bray, is also finally going to the pit lane. So he's going to have to stop. Looks like Tyler Tier's slowing down for that. Looks like Kyle Aiken's slowing down for that. Is Eric Rodriguez going to be the final driver in the top 10 to finally surrender to that pit lane and get the fuel? It looks like he is. And there goes Matt Shack perfectly back into P1. No mistakes there. He's definitely ahead. Timothy Bray is still in the pit lane. And even better, we have Joey Jr. in P2 with Ryan Avila in P3. What a shakeup. I thought at one point Ryan Avila was going to be able to push and attack Matt Shack. They were equal on pace. They had it together. He was in the draft, but leave it to a driver. Jumps two full positions from P4 to P2 like it's nothing, undercutting the top 5 like that. It's ridiculous. Now Joey Jr. just has to hold on to this. He's did a 144.4. Ryan Avila did a last lap. He actually hasn't done doesn't say his last lap accurately on the board here, but definitely have to take a look at it when we get back to it. Going through, we have Eddie Layton and Travis Valdez. Now they're battling side by for position. They were P7 and P8, and now they're P4 and P5. So another couple drivers that decided to make that move for the pit lane early, and it's paying off as Eddie Layton and Travis Valdez made up a couple positions off of that move, and it looks like Travis Valdez flashing Eddie Layton. I don't know if that's a psychological move or he believes that he should be ahead of him. Oh. Doesn't look like there's damage to Tyler Tier. He's on an outlap. And he is down into P19. Timothy Bribe from P4 down to P16. Cody Wassam ahead in P15. Something odd has happened there, folks. All these drivers are... Oh, we have a few drivers that still have not gone in the pit lane. So we'll definitely see a better makeup of the order there very shortly. And at some point, we're going to see these two finally battle it out. They are just getting close, but it doesn't look like Eddie Layton's actually having to defend just yet. So we'll jump on board and see. Maybe Travis Valdez is just waiting for a mistake to be made, or just get him on a good exit. As we have the remaining drivers going into the pit lane that haven't yet gone, with only we're already halfway through this race, and they really pushed on that overcut for some of these drivers. Didn't pan out for everybody. Is this the moment? Nothing. Jump back on board. He's nowhere closer. He's 4/10 off. It's definitely not going to be enough. Or it could be speaking too soon. He's now 3/10. He's about to drop to 2, but he's about to go in the braking zone. He's not close enough to make it happen just yet. And Tyler Tier now trying to make a move here on Zachary Bryant, just ahead of him. Oh, as he goes through. And Tyler Tier, who was battling in the top 10, now overtaking for P16. I think that was one of the drivers that was going for a long overcut, and it just didn't pan out as much as you can possibly do there. Right behind him, Andrew Pickrell in P19. And Tom DeSelms. Oh. And that is a damaged car from Timothy Bryan. You can see that left rear definitely shaken up. But Tom DeSelms in P20. And just behind him is David Gauntlet on an outlap. Oh. And from P14 dropping down, and just unfortunate. David Gauntlet, who was running in the points in the top 10, is now slightly relegated behind, I would say, even the top 20, as there's some drivers that pass him in the top, so it's going to be some issue there. Andrew Korostecki has gone into the pit lane and lost a bunch of positions from that, but he's one of the last drivers to finally go and get fuel. And still nothing out of our race leader, Matt Shack, who is running pretty cleanly with a 5.2 second gap to P2. Joey Jr. in P2. with a 1.6 second gap to Ryan Villa, and he's got a 5.5 second gap to Eddie Layton and Travis Valdez, who are still battling. They're 3/10 off of each other, but that hasn't changed in several laps. You hope it's gonna. It's got about 5 laps left to go on the docket here, maybe 6, and we'll see what definitely happens. Because we lost a lot of drivers to some incidents that have occurred. It's unfortunate. You hate to see it, folks. They've gone way outside the bounds there. Oh no. And yeah, Steve Gallister, just not his time. Not this race. He was unfortunately collected an incident that he tried to get out of the way. He was going it's a fast right-hander going in the penultimate corner, and when contact happens because things are out of your control sometimes, and so it's unfortunate. But he's still pushing along, still trying to make some moves. And Scott Neiman still holding P17. Zachary Bryant just ahead of him, and Tyler Tier overtakes P15. Joshua Willis and Kyle Deckard battling it out for P9. It looks like Joshua Willis is able to get ahead of him. But is Kyle Deckard making a move? No, he takes a little look down the inside, but doesn't actually go for it. And there's Eric Rodriguez right behind him. Goes a little bit wider. And that's Craig Carroll in P8, just in front of him. So it looks like there's a bit of a kerfluffle happening as these drivers are now getting closer to each other than previously than I thought. And jumping back on board, we have Trey Mistack in P6. Travis Valdez in P5. Still trying to make up that pace on Eddie Layton. Not done it just yet. But it could be down to a couple battlings happening here. Let me take a look for the board. Cody Wasserman, P22. Got a 1.1 second gap to P21. It looks to be shaving that down. And Andrew Pickrell, oh man, his car is not looking good. David Gauntlet's also in the pits to service there. Alright, Carroll's going to have to worry about his rear view mirrors very shortly, as he's done a 145.5. Josh Willis did a 144.8, which means Josh Willis is catching up. That 1.3 second gap is going to decrease. But not just yet. Still not in a 1.2, but going through a corner, so that's effective. And we can see Eddie Layton and Travis Valdez still battling it out here for P4, P5. Joey Jr. still holding P2 with a 2.3 second gap to P3. So it doesn't look like the top three are going to be shaking up anything anytime soon. But P4, P5 still a battle on the horizon. We got 2, maybe 3 laps left to go, and Eddie Layton has to keep pushing. In his rears is Travis Valdez, looking to take that spot from him. It looks like he takes a little bit of a tighter line, and this is 2 Audis going at it, so they're equal in machinery. Now this really comes down to what the pace difference is. Eddie Layton did a 144.7. Travis Valdez did a 144.5. They're separated by just a few tenths. And it doesn't seem like it's enough, as they both go extremely wide through that corner. That's an off track for sure. Actually loses out again. It's just, I don't know if turn 1 is and 2 is Travis's move here. Doesn't seem to be getting the pace from those corners on the exit to make a move. But look at him here. He's getting closer. He's 2 tenths faster. But yeah, it's going to be hard to try to make a move on the outside of this corner. But if he's going for the move, he's got to do it soon, as we are approaching the end of this race. One of the 2 drivers on the track that are still battling out for position, as a lot of the other drivers have kind of set in their ways where they're going to finish this race as long as they keep it together. Joshua Willis, who was definitely down on speed through the start of this race, being overtaken by in 4 positions lost, has actually regained all of his positions. He's now back to P8. Kyle Aiken, Kyle Decker got ahead of him. Craig Carroll got ahead of him, and looks like the only one that is pretty much solidified that is Trey Mistek and Kyle Aiken have stayed ahead of him. And again, with the wide angle, it's definitely not his strong suit here. But can he make something happen? He's only got one lap remaining. It's actually 4 tenths off. And it looks like we're no closer to seeing these drivers make a move. He's 3 tenths off of him. And still yet, take a look at Matt Shack here, who's about to go through what looks to be one more lap. Or this could be the checkered flag. That is the white flag. And we know for confirmation, all of these drivers are finally going to be on the last of it. And this is going to be the last lap for Travis Valdez to finally make a move. He's 4 tenths off of Eddie Layton. Is he going to make something happen? Now we see him again. Both these drivers definitely go off. Too much, though. I would say he cut way too much going wide. He's lost a bit of time. You can see he's half a second down. And he's just not going to catch him making a small error in turn 1 like that. But if he's got any chance of passing him, it's going to probably be a lunge. At this point, he's pulled back that time going through the corners. Well, actually lost out 1/10 there, but he's definitely going to have to make a move. And we'll go on board and see if he's finally going to be able to sense an opportunity. He's still half a second off. He's got to pull back a little bit of time there. Actually, is losing a little bit more. This might be Eddie Layton's P4 finish from him. Even later went on the brakes a little bit later there, but it did not help him. As we have Matt Shack about to go through the final corners here. Is anything going to happen from these drivers? Is it possible? And I don't think so, folks. I think that's actually wrapping it up there. As Matt Shack takes P1. Joey Jr. with a fantastic result from the driver from P12 to P1, 2. Great undercut by him. Ryan Avila, P3. Eddie Layton, P4. Travis Valdez, P5. Trey Mistek. He's been across the line right there, and he goes P6. Kyle Aiken in P7. Joshua Willis climbs back out of the clutches of being overtaken by several drivers, and now he's back into the P8 finish. Craig Carroll in P9. Kyle Deckard in P10. Eric Rodriguez coming around the final corner, and he's going to take P11. And that is him swerving there as Michael Dalling goes P12. Timothy Bry in P13. It's Andrew Korostecki, not really battling Tyler Tier, but they are close. Not close enough for a finish there. And then there's Zachary Bryant in P16. Scott Neiman in P17. Doesn't look like he's going to be battling anyone for that. Ray Frias in P18. As we have Cody Wassum and Tom DeSelms battling as Cody Wassum goes ahead of him into one of the two corners remaining, and Tom DeSelms loses out P19 to Cody Wassum. Still battle happening on track as he crosses. He's going to be crossing the line with a P19 finish, and Tom DeSelms with a P20. And it ain't over until it's over. And Max Yoder, P21, Jason Williamson in P22, Andrew Pickrell in P23. Steve McAllister in P23, Andrew Pickrell P24, David Gauntlet P25, David Flanagan in P26, Andrew Gallagher in P27, Christopher Douglas in P28, Austin McGill in 29, Y'all Gun Batarath in P30, Nathan Campbell in P31, Noah Hodgkinson in P32, and Richard Saavedra in P33, and Paulo Langer in P34. Unfortunate business that happened with that driver in the opening lap, turn 1. Everybody got a little bunched up, and that's it, folks. Tune in not next Sunday, but the Sunday after that for the GT3 round 4. We're going to be taking one stream off for the round 3. And then we'll be back with the F4, I believe, in a few weeks as well. Not this next Tuesday coming up, but the Tuesday after that, I believe. Thanks for watching, and have a good evening.